Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode for the Coaching Conversations podcast. Now, we are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and multiple different channels. Please check us out. Now, one of the things that you'll get out of our podcast episodes is a lot of content, a lot of strategy. It's not fluff, it's not concept, yet we really want you to engage with the content and let us know your feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If there's topics you'd love to have us address, we would love to share them with you. Let us know your impact and let us know your feedback.
For decades, I've been teaching leaders how to coach. And when I think about coaching, I definitely think it's a byproduct of leadership, a subset of leadership. I don't think it's everything that leaders certainly need to do. Now, with that being said, one thing that I throw out to people is that I'm wondering if we have this whole leadership training thing wrong. Let me explain. We tend to put a lot on our leaders' plates. We tend to ask them to do a lot of things. And when we do that, we take this very top-down approach. Executives to upper management, to middle management, to frontline management, and so on. Yet we have to ask ourselves, much like in youth sports or sports in general, when you have a coach, what do we often complain about? The players, their attitudes. Did they practice hard? How often do we see professional athletes calling out their coaches publicly or saying that the right play wasn't called at the end of the game, which ultimately leads to undermining coaches, leaders. It happens in the workplace. That's why we have this thing called the water cooler. I think a missing piece is teaching people how to be led, how to become approachable, how to become coachable. I want to share this with you. For 31 years, on and off, I've been coaching boys volleyball. And I started my second high school program about 10 years ago, and I resigned from it about 3 years ago, really resigned 5 years ago from the varsity position. And one of the things that we implemented was player-based feedback. You had to ask two teammates, I think it was once every week or every 2 weeks, I forget the frequency or cadence, and you had to ask a question such as, what could I do better as a teammate? And when you got your feedback, the only response you were allowed to give was thank you. And I would have kids say, well, what if I get mad? What if I get this? I said, guys, it's called emotional intelligence. Let time do its work. In the moment, it stings. Afterwards, with some time, we start to reflect and think, yeah, you know what? I could have played better. I could have hustled more. Yet when we're in the moment, we're very emotional creatures. Let me give you a workplace parallel. When you get called into the office by your boss, and your boss says, I need to see you right away, the employee immediately goes to this place of, uh-oh, I must have done something wrong. And then when we start to get feedback, we go into this concept of RIAR, R-I-A-R. We react, we interpret, we articulate, and hopefully we reflect. Few get to the reflection stage. So if the boss gives us feedback we disagree with, we calmly say to ourselves, this is good stuff. This is giving me good perception. Most people get defensive. They react emotionally. When we're emotionally, we're less logical, we're less factual, we become more subjective. When we interpret, we put a story on it. My boss attacked me. He never listens to me. And then we articulate. We start to tell people around us. Well, what did the boss say? Well, the guy never listens to me and he was attacking me. He was attacking you. Then we put in adjectives. The story has now taken on a different life form. Now, once we get to interpretation, if it's taken out of context, reflection is really not possible. It's very hard to do. So what ultimately happens is we create this story, this narrative, we tell other people, now we can't back up the truck. We can't back up. Because we've told people, we've committed to that story, which is our new reality. And so when that happens, it's not because we're bad people, it's because we're emotional creatures. So one of the best things that we can do is to learn to reflect right when we get feedback. We have to make it easy for leaders to lead. We have to make it easier for leaders to mentor. We have to make it easier for leaders to coach. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.